How's it going, everyone? It is Thursday, May 30th, 2024. Let's get into the picks from yesterday. First, I gave a KSSS time spread. So, the expected move for this time spread, according to the option pricing, was 18%. We had a huge beat on the downside of about 20 to 22%. You can see here right now it is at 26%. So both the short calls and the long calls were pretty much worthless. I took profit on the short calls, and now I just have the long calls here. Now, I purchased the entire spread for a 16-cent debit. The value of my long calls are 1 cent. So I essentially have almost zero downside, and I have a very strong upside. My break-even price is going to be 16 cents because that would be the price where I would take. I exited my short calls for the win, and I can buy back, or I can ride those long calls if we get the move up within the next week. I can ride those and see if I get 15, 16 cents. I can break even on the trade. So KSS is open, and this is a leg out. This is this scenario where you want to leg out because we have a massive beat. We didn't really go in the range, so this is the best thing to do in this scenario. If you're unsure on how to leg out of time spreads, or you don't know what to do here, take a couple on paper and just really understand all the scenarios that could happen and write them out so you understand what's going on. Netflix was the day trade long pick of yesterday. So Netflix, I did take a nice win on, but I'm going to talk about how I missed this TA right here, this high plus trend line, fairly long-term trend line that was coming into play. Let's look at the chart for Netflix. So when I called out the video here, it was making a nice move higher and it was pulling back. And I like this pullback here, and it produced right here. So I got in at Netflix around 662.30, and I took profits near this high because I realized that we were actually facing D1 resistance. When you're facing D1 resistance, the chance of it breaking through is significantly less. There's also a stronger chance for a reversal. We had an LPTE day yesterday, so there was no market tailwind to help us break through. This stock stalled and it died. So if you entered here, you had a very tiny window to scratch, but most of the time you were taking heat. You had to get a very good entry somewhere here. This is the support around 660. You have to buy close to this support level, and then you could take profits on that move. So Netflix was a mistake in terms of missing the technical analysis, but because we had a good entry, and then when we quickly realized that there was a high plus trend line in the way, take the profits, get out of the sidelines, and you live to fight another day. It was really nice D1 and M5 setup, and I think if there was a stronger market trend, we could have broken through, but the fact that there wasn't means that we got stalled out at this level. Second one here, WBA. So this was WBA yesterday. Very nice stock, very strong trend. I did mention that it was overextended, looking absolutely fantastic in the morning. And I mentioned, excuse me, I'm always yawning. I mentioned when we're moving through here, wait for a pullback to the 8 EMA, right? See what it does. Maybe get in on an HA reversal. Well, I really hope you took that advice, because if you waited for that HA reversal, which you would have got at 125, you would have seen that, okay, we've hit a pretty nice move here. Maybe this trend is not the best pick for a day trade. So this should have been an easy no trade if you waited for the pullback. Entering here, especially on a day with no market tailwind, you missed the chance. You had to enter earlier in the day, 1050. This was the entry point. If you missed that entry point, then your risk reward is slowly becoming more and more unfavorable, right? More of the move is happening. You're closer to the end of the cycle, not working out super well. So WBA, no trade. Okay, let's look at what SPY is doing long-term here, D1. So we're still bullish fundamentally and technically. GDP today was revised from 1.6% down to 1.3% on the second look, which is, I guess, slightly bearish, but I think no one really cares about the second look too much. After this move up higher, we got our bearish engulf. We were on the sidelines. We're not taking anything too much. And today we gapped down. We broke this level. And we filled in the gap from May 14th. So we're out of the range, and we want to see if we hold this range. Now, I think the important thing to also consider here is how we break out of the range, right? If we just poke through here, don't do much and waffle around, that says that buyers are interested, and we might have an opportunity to get in on some swing trading longs. If you look at what happened on the 15th, this is where we broke the 50 SMA, and we broke it with a lot of volume, strong selling, and a long red candle. We had nice follow through, and then when this trend stalled over here, we made a new higher high and a higher low. That's when we could exit out of some of our trades. So watching the same thing here, after this level, there are some minor levels of support and resistance, like 520-ish is one level, the prior all-time high right here. So this 523, 524 is another level, but we have kind of a straight shot to the 50 SMA. We're probably one long red candle away from it, given the ATR. So short term, remember long term we're still bullish, mildly bullish. Short term, I'm neutral, and this would make me perhaps a -1 bearish. I think this could be the start of the pullback over here. So you could take some shorter term swings on the short side. You could also stick to day trading if you don't want to take any overnight risk. It really depends on how this candle closes. I'd rather see a strong close than sort of a tiny bodied weak close. This is also happening, by the way, before all the news information next week. So given that news information, that could be the impetus for us to snap back and resume the uptrend. So given all that information, I could maybe see taking some short-term swings, maybe one or two. Don't go overboard again on the short side, and then stick to some day trades on the short side. That'd pretty much be it in terms of potential opportunities. We don't want to go overboard just yet. And you should really be spending your time looking for really great stocks to go long on, and stocks that you could even put credit spreads on, distance yourself from the action. That would probably what I recommend if you're not comfortable really with cycles and when the end of the cycle could happen. Let's zoom in to the M5 chart. Gap down today. We had some mildly choppy candles here. Crack down to the downside. Move up. And then we had a kind of a slow drift over here. Got this bullish engulfing candle from the bottom. Rallied up a little bit here. So what started out as a bearish trend day, a pretty weak bearish trend day, I would say. Now, we got this tall bounce. We got this bearish cycle producing over here. Or about to produce. This bullish cycle produced. We're going to see if this bearish cycle produced. I thought this is a decently strong bounce. It certainly has a little bit of gusto into it, not a lot of retracement into these candles. But we know that there's sellers lurking over here. So what I'm seeing is this is probably going to be a pretty wide range that we're creating today. And this downward sloping trend line is going to be pretty important for us to stay on the short side. So intraday, I am maybe a -1 bearish. I'm not as bearish because not as bearish as I was earlier in the day, given the tall bounce that we saw. Our volume is pretty light. The 1-up cycles have been producing. So what I would do here is probably find a nice day trading short. And I'm going to go to my tags over here. There's a couple ones that I liked. One that I liked here was Pan W. So you can see that Pan W compressing by the low of the day while the market's rising. On this bearish cycle, we should get this next leg lower. So set an alert at the low of the day. Once it breaks through, then we can get in on Pan W. Adobe was one I liked really well. And also, by the way, before I go to the M5 chart, let me just show you the D1 setup because I think that's important as well. I know there's a lot of lines that are being marked over here. The main thing you have to see is that we broke through this upward sloping channel and we have room to the 50 SMA. That's the story of Pan W. We also have this double top rejection after earnings. So stock has bounced off resistance and is looking to make a pretty nice move today. We also know that CRM had very, very weak earnings today, and that is dragging down a lot of these software and software application industry stocks. So I believe that's a big reason that we're seeing some of the weakness today in the market. It's really bringing down tech in general. If you look at the market breadth today, most sectors are actually positive, but tech and communication services are down, and that is what is dragging down the market. On the long side here, there's a couple of really nice picks. I think is this AI? AI is looking pretty good. Has to get through its AVWAP E. Certainly not a bad setup. AA was one that I really liked. Strong chart, just steadily grinding up higher. HIMS, we called it yesterday, and that still remains a very nice swing. I did like Kava. So Kava here is pulled back. I'd wait to see how it looks during this bearish cycle. If Kava holds during the bearish cycle and holds a lot of these gains, then I think you could have a nice entry point as a later day trade, a nice little parabolic pullback, and could be a nice opportunity. So I'm going to say Kava long on an LRSI pullback. That's the first pick, and this is going to be a day trade. I'm going to add this to the YouTube picks. And then on the bearish side here, we're going to find a good pick. I still do like Pan W, so it's probably going to be Pan W. Yeah, Pan W, if it breaks through this downward, this minor resting point over here at 2608. So let's add Pan W to the YouTube picks. Those are the two picks today, and I am going to give another earnings time spread pick, which is going to be S. So S, $20, so still decent enough price. Doesn't exceed earnings very rarely. The average move is far lower than the expected move. You can see it's less than half, and we have a very high difference. So I like S quite a bit. When I enter this is going to be either closer to the end of the day or waiting to see what happens with the market today. If we can't get through the low of the day, then I'm probably going to enter S, and I expect the market to kind of die off, and I could probably take profits on the time spread on the same day, given that this has a very low option liquidity and is most likely dead. So set a target for S, bid for something that is very low, and something that is below the mid. So be very selective with your entries. Don't chase these entries on stocks like this. Be patient on them, and you'll get a great entry point, and you can take profits later in the day. So let's add S to the YouTube picks as well. All right, so that is going to be it for today's video. Keeping it pretty short on the market side. Couple options here that can happen intraday. The biggest thing with day trading is that it's all about the potential of the market day, what can actually happen, what may not happen. Kava S, take out ACN, and we are going to keep in KSS because that is a time spread that we are holding. We'll take a look at these day trades tomorrow. Now, if I will say the swing trade stipulation, if the market can close below the prior day low, which seems very likely, and below this horizontal range, I would feel okay taking PanW as an overnight swing. I like that setup. So if that presents itself, I think there's an opportunity for an overnight swing here. PanW is a pretty good candidate. Adobe, not a bad candidate either, although it has some support. If I just pull up Adobe very quickly, it has some support right around the 453 level, so we have to be cognizant of that. But both of these have the potential to be held overnight, so if you don't want to day trade, you want to just wait and see what they do. I would keep an eye on PanW and see if there's an opportunity to hold this stock all the way until it reaches its 50 SMA, which is on the other chart. Right here, you have room until that level. So again, nice overnight swing setup. PDS could work pretty well in this scenario. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we will take a look at all this stuff in tomorrow's video.